Hello, everyone. We are group and Francisco, Luz, Jarleni, and Silen. And today we are going to share some personal experience that help us learn in a group each. Also talking about moment of lives that's something important. We hope enjoyed on presentation of being connect to the stories. I'm going to share thank you for the beginning. Now, in my personal history, I want to talking about something that happening to my during my English course at the British Council. At the beginning, I feel really nervous every time I had to speak in class. When the teacher asked the questions, I didn't know what to say, and I was afraid of making mistakes. Because of that, I stayed the kids the most of the time. After a while, I noticed that if there was a stopping, my friend improved. I saw trees, some tiny small. In every class, I pushed myself to say at the last one sentence. I also practiced with my friend from the course, and that helped me feel more relaxed. Little by little, I started speaking a bit more. Now I know that speaking a little every day helps. So many mentions for my classmate is simple. Try to speak if it is short or simple. I really makes a difference. Thank you.
Do you still get nervous sometimes?
Yes, sometimes, but no, I try to speak anyway.
And Zilen, I have a question. Would you do something differently now?
I will try to speak more from the beginning, even in nervous. Yes, thank you. Continue the partner.
Okay, can I continue? Okay, I think that's a yes. Now, I would like to tell you about my journey in my favorite sport. I really like to play volleyball. I have been playing for the last 4 years. So I started back in 2021. I was basically a homestuck teenager. I barely left the house, and my parents were always worrying about how much time I spent indoors. But something changed in me. I really wanted more out of life. I wanted to be self-sufficient, to do things I actually love, and to hang out with friends and us- and do what I like to do. That's when I started begging my parents to let me train volleyball. It wasn't easy convincing them, but eventually they gave in and said yes. My first club was Genesis, and I honestly, it felt like finding where I belonged. The team was solid, filled with people my age who were just as passionate about the sport. But what made really special was how diverse it was. There were players who came just for fun or to stay healthy, even some elders who showed up with the same energy we had. Our trainer was this guy named Freddie, and he had this whole legacy behind him. He'd been part of Colombia's official team years ago, so training under someone with that kind of experience was something bigger than myself. I stayed at Hennessy for a long time, not just because of the volleyball, but because I was comfortable there. I was with my friends, I was happy, but life has a way of throwing obstacles at you, right? The court was just too far from my home, and I eventually had to be practical about it. I needed to find something closer, so that's when I kept searching for another team, and I ended up at C4 or C4 in Spanish. And man, that was rough. The team was made up of these kids between 12 and 14 years old, and they were mean, like really mean. Miss a pass, they let you know about it. Mess up a spike, you definitely hear about it. This environment was really toxic for me, but Honestly, my experience there was horrible, but even I learned from that. I explored more of myself as a player. I figured out what I could handle, what I wouldn't put up with, and what actually I needed from a team. So I started searching for another team. Then in 2023, I found this place named Falcon. So I decided to join them because another friends of mine trained there. I was super nervous at first because there there were so many people training there, and to make things even more awkward, there was this girl that I tried to date before. Talk about uncomfortable, right? But I kept reminding myself that I was there only for the trainings for the volleyball and started getting better. The trainings were actually fun and made some new friends, and the team had a great energy. So I trained there until 2024 because then reality hit me hard because there weren't any time for me to train anymore. Needed to start focusing on my studies at normal school as a teacher. So I stopped going to train to the trainings, and then I replaced volleyball with going to the gym, and I'm pretty comfortable with that because I can go to the gym, see the results, work, have some money for myself, and play volleyball with some friends when they call me or something like that, more like less regularly. But I'm happy with that, and I think that's my story. What do you think about it?
Oh, it's a great. One question. What was the main reason you started training volleyball in 2021?
Well, the main reason was that my friend Hector invited me to play volleyball with him in this team named Genesis. So I begged to my parents to go out to the house because I was like Rapunzel in the tower. I couldn't go out because I was a really hamster kid. But then my parents gave me the permission, and I got out with my volleyball trainings.
Mm, which volleyball club did you stay at the longest? And where did you eventually leave?
Well, the volleyball club I stayed the longest, I think it was Falcons, because in Genesis I stayed for a year and 2 months, I think, and in Falcons I stayed for, I think, almost 2 years, like 1 year, 8 months, or even nine. I can't remember well. It was a hard time for me getting out of the court of the trainings because I'm really passionate about that sport, but I think that was useful, and because I needed more time for me to keep up with my studies and getting jobs. So that's it.
It is a very challenging sport.
Okay, my anecdote. Laughter and the cinema with my friends. Gym. Going to a horror movie with friends. I scared, spilled the popcorn. I laughed. I chose this because it shows how funny moments can break the tension and become a cellular anecdote. Description of the experience. A jump scare hit as popcorn spilled onto my legs, the armrest and the aisle turning into contagious laughter among friends. how I saw it. I picked up the remains popcorn and with friend help cleaned the seat and aisle. What I learned, scares can become moments of unity and humor with the right attitude. I changed my reaction to reach, smile, and you to extension.
Okay,
Okay.
Darlene.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no problem.
Okay. I can I ask the question first?
I.
Okay, that's good. So, Yarleni, what was your first reaction?
And truthfully, I freaked out, but I laughed.
Okay, Darlene. It's a good presentation, but one question. What did you do to clean?
I picked up the popcorn and cleaned the seat and cleaned the aisle.
Okay, thank you guys for your presentation.
Thanks to you too. I hope we could tell more stories further.
Bye bye. See you later.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.